ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमः योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ So, verse number 28. Avyaktādīni bhūtāni vyaktamadhyāni bhārata avyaktanidhanānyeva tatra kā paridevana. So we were seeing this, we have started this verse, and I will give you two meanings. Perhaps the third meaning will be possible, we'll see later. But both, whatever the meaning I am going to give, this is within the framework of a Vedanta. So now let's see if the first thing is, see in this verse, Bhagavan explains this phenomena of birth and death. Because when we understand this birth and death clearly, the impact of those two, their capacity to hurt us will be radically reduced. So without understanding this phenomena of birth and death, we are having a fear, especially from the death. So most of our negative emotions are created out of the ignorance. And that's how, because, so whatever out of ignorance we create, all these are the projections. And so somebody very nicely said that ignorance is, a dark room in which all negatives are developed. Like they develop in, on that, when they take a photo, etc., when they want to develop the negative, they always need a dark room. So same way here also, very nicely it is said, that ignorance is a dark room in which all negatives are developed. So in our mind also, we are ignorant of the self, and so all negatives, all raga, dveshas, kama, krodha, lobha, etc. are developed. And they are all pervaded by the ignorance. So Bhagavan says to Arjuna that you have a fear for death, etc. of Bhishma, not of yourself, but then you have a fear of this phenomena of a death. So Arjuna, you understand this phenomena of birth and death, then your fear would go away. Or it would become less. It won't go away immediately, but it would become less. And then what is our understanding regarding this? That's what is explaining this verse. Really speaking, there is no question of destruction of anything or creation of anything. Now total destruction does not exist. Total creation also does not exist, because even according to the science, you see, by the law of this conservation of matter and energy, you know that nothing is created, nothing is destroyed. So even Bhagavan can't create even a milligram of matter. Bhagavan also is not able to do. We are ready to accept Ishvara as omnipotent, but and the definition of omnipotent is omnipotent is one who can do anything that is possible. And Means the omnipotent is one which has a capacity to do the possible thing. But creation of matter is impossible thing. And therefore even omnipotent God also cannot, does not and cannot create even a milligram of matter. So, and therefore there is no question of birth and death in reality as such. Well, then what do you mean by this birth and death? Now that's another question. What it means is a changing of one form to another form. So phenomena is one, but one phenomena is called birth from one angle, and it is called death from another angle. So when tomorrow is born, this phenomena of the change of the day, well, definitely the phenomena of a change of a day can be looked upon differently. From one angle, if you look, it is a birth of a new day. Or if you look at the same phenomena, it is a death of the previous day. So one phenomena is looked upon differently, and that is called birth and death. I will give you another example, like when water, the conversion of water from one form to another. Well, here also there is a destruction and there is a creation, or birth and death. There is basically from this, when the water, if you heat water, what happens is this phenomena in which water is destroyed, right? So there is a destruction of water. So from the standpoint of water, there is a destruction. When you look at this phenomena of converting or heating the water, let us say, heating the water, such a phenomena is called a destruction from the standpoint of water. And the same phenomena from the standpoint of a steam, well, it is called the creation of the steam. So that is how these two, a single phenomena is looked upon like this. Even in our body also, day in and day out, we are having every moment the birth of the new cells and everything is going on, which we can call it as growth. Now this is also phenomena, the growth of the body. In the growth of the body, this phenomena is looked upon from one angle. If you looked upon, where it is, we can call it destruction of our parathas and rotis and idlis. And from the another angle, well, new cells are born. So the phenomena is one, the growth of body. But from one angle, there is a destruction of something. From another angle, the same phenomena is called birth of something. So, and this is how everything is like this. So, so everything is changing from one form to another. Previous form is destroyed, new form is born. Well, this is how the creation and destruction are going on. So, previous condition, the condition which has gone, which we call it as a death, is we can generally call it as the unmanifest condition, and the present condition. Previous condition is unmanifest condition, and the present condition is called manifest condition. So this is how Bhagavan is explaining this phenomena, and well, he says bhutani avyaktadini, all the physical bodies, well, existed before, even before the creation came. Before this Big Bang, anything, even before the creation came, or pralaya kale, you can say. To put in our scientific language, all our bodies existed. But in what form? Not in this form, but in potential form, we should say. So you may call it as a energy. In Vedanta, it is called Prakriti. Prakriti means a most rudimentary form of the matter, and which is not even energy. Why? Because in science they say the very basic thing from which the creation has come, the very basic thing is energy, but they say 3 or 4 types of energies, not single energy. And so, so far as we are concerned, this Prakriti is not energy. Even these 3 or 4 kinds of energies are there from which they believe this creation is. We further reduce it to a very, very rudimentary or basic form, and that we call it as a Prakriti. So you condense all the energies and convert into a single basic form, that is called in Vedanta it is called Prakriti, otherwise it is called Avyaktam, otherwise it is called Maya, otherwise it is called Shakti. All this is all these names, synonyms are there. So all our bodies existed in unmanifest form. This body right now is Vyaktam, manifest. Before that it is Avyaktam. And that Avyaktam is nothing but this Prakriti. And or you can say Maya, or you can say Shakti, etc. We can call it, because this body right now is manifest. Then previous condition will be what? Well, before this birth of the body, before it manifested, that it was what? It was unmanifest. That unmanifest is called Prakriti. But Swamiji, from that unmanifest, how this manifest has come? Well, that was the creation Prakriya. There you can divide from Prakriti to this body, from unmanifest to this manifest. Then Sankhya's have one way of saying, and we have another way of saying, but we definitely adopt the model of Sankhya's. And Sankhya's model I will give you in chart form, and our model of creation is going to come in Tattva Bodha. So basically how this physical body has come from Prakriti or Maya, well, that is where we have these two roots. Vedanta accepts both the way, because it is part of the creation. This is all manifest, means this is a part of creation, and before that it was unmanifest, etc. Well, so unmanifest to manifest is a creation, and that has nothing to do with the Brahman. And so basically it's a part of creation, but then we will see both the models later. One model is automatically coming in Tattva Bodha, that is Vedantic model, and other model I will have to give you in chart form. And both are acceptable to Vedanta. Anyway, so now in due course of time, all those manifest matter or particle, etc., they are all condensed to form this physical body, and which is the invisible condition, which is manifest. So Bhagavan says, Avyaktadini Bhutani, these are all bodies, these are all living beings, the universe as such. Well, they were all these bodies were, and why particularly body we are taking in for Bhutas? Because Bhagavan wants to remove the grief of the Arjuna. Tatra ka paridevana. Paridevana means sorrow. So why you are having a sorrow for these bodies? These bodies mean which bodies? The bodies of Bhishma and Drona, etc. Well, so you are grieving for, but just expand your vision that these bodies of Bhishma, etc., and all other bodies, from where they have come? They have come from unmanifest. And unmanifest is really unmanifest. Nothing, no one can tell anything about this unmanifest. Anyway, unmanifest is unknown. Manifest, it is known. That's all we should know. Unmanifest is unknown. How long, Swamiji, it is unknown? It is unknown. It is unknown, and unknown. And so right now, well, you know this particular form, a form of a Bhishma or a form of a Swami or a form of a Drona, any form. That is manifest. That is called Vyakta Madhyani for few years. I mean, in this beginningless time, in this geological time. Well, in geological time for one kalpa, you can imagine what a number of srishtis. In Bhagavatam they say, in every, what they call, every Roma, Kesha and Loma. Loma means the hair on the body. In every Loma, there are thousands and thousands of such cycles of creation are there. In this Bhagavan's body, there are so many hairs. And in every hair, there are thousands and thousands of the cycles of creation are there. It wants to say that Bhagavan is Adhishthanam, as a consciousness is Adhishthanam, and there are several cycles of creation. Several means several. How many, Swamiji? Beginningless. So now you can think of. Number of cycles have gone and they are going to come. In which this body, well, it has manifested for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, let's say up to 150 years for a human being. And so far as I know, the life of a tortoise, I think up to 500 years. I have seen one tortoise, well, it's like a small hillock. And its life was 500 years. and it was in one zoo. I have seen that. Well, it has died now. But what I am saying is, even if 500 years, well, it's a manifest form. That is Vyakta Madhyani. In between, you see this as a Vyakta form. Well, it is whatever number of years you tell, but compared to Avyaktam, what is what is an unmanifest, this is just nothing. So and believe like that, Vyakta Madhyani, in between we manifest, in between the bodies manifest, or Jiva manifest, whatever you say. So one live like that, and then Avyakta Nidhanani. Nidhanam means death. Avyakta Nidhanani. So it will go back again to the unmanifest. So all these bodies will have to go back to invisible, unmanifest, unknown condition. It is called unknown condition. Well, so the conversion of unmanifest to manifest, we call it as a Janma. And the conversion from manifest to unmanifest again is called death. So Bhagavan says, Bhutani, all these beings including Sharirani, let's say Sharirani, including our Bhishma, Drona, etc., all his relatives, other relatives, all these beings, well, here representing the body Sharirani, Avyakta Adini, unmanifest before, Vyakta Madhyani, manifest in the middle, Avyakta Nidhanani, again it will become unmanifest. And Puja Swamiji also has given this example, and somebody else also gave the example. They gave an example of a arrow. Like, suppose this is a room in which there are opposite doors are there. And there is a night time. Of course, in the room there is a light. But outside the room there is a darkness, all over darkness. And somebody has from a very, very big, very far distance has shoot an arrow. So that arrow travels in that, in the darkness, comes to the room from the door, and they get lighted in between, and the speed is so much that within fraction of second it has gone through the other door, which is just parallel to that, opposite to it. And so in between, for a fraction of second, that arrow has become lighted, or let's say the arrow has become manifest, and afterwards again it became unmanifest. It started its journey from unmanifest, unknown, in darkness, and well, in between for a few fraction of second, it has become manifest, and again it has gone into darkness, that is unmanifest. So that is how we have to understand. Our all bodies are like these arrows, in between for few years, very few years. Human life is just nothing compared to the geological time. I am seeing right now here there is a mountain opposite to me. Well, his life maybe, I don't know, maybe millions of years, I don't know. But this is how it is. Compared to, even there are so many rocks and so many things here, for our life is just nothing. And it manifests in between, and it has come from unmanifest, from Prakriti, from Maya it has come, and it has manifested right now, we call it Janma. Well, it again goes back to unmanifest, we call it as a Maranam. So think like that. Arjuna, you please think like that. You feel that as if they are there since a beginningless time, and they are going to be there endless, etc. He says these bodies are the Janma and death of these bodies, basically. That we don't think anything. Janma and death means body only. But Swamiji, subtle body, somebody asked me, Swamiji, you are saying subtle body also has no life and death, etc. But it has life and death. Correct. He is right, absolutely right. But we are talking right now by experience of life and death. I am talking about that. Experience of physical body's death, and experience of physical body's death, that you have seen. We have never seen the death of a subtle body, or life of or the Janma of a subtle body. It is going to die. It has, when subtle body dies, the two conditions are there. Either you get knowledge, or else in Mahapralayam, the subtle body also dissolves and goes back to the Karana. That is Karana, as a Karana Shariram, as a seed it will remain. And again, when the new cycle of creation comes, not this Avantar Pralayam, There are 3 or 4 kinds of pralayams are there. Well, Mahapralayam, in which it says that even Brahmaji resolves. So, and therefore the whole universe, Brahmanda, resolves. And there is 100 years of Brahmaji, and we have calculated all this. Well, then also this creation is going to end. That time only causal state is there and consciousness. Well, and it is exactly like a Sushupti. Exactly like a Sushupti. Sushupti also is called Layaha. And other than that, everything is called Pralayaha. That is the thing. So, Layaha and Pralayaha. Because Prakrishtam, Layaha, Pralayaha. Prakrishtam. I mean, once it is gone, it never comes. Thank God, Layaha is something in which we again rise in the same body. And in death, we don't rise in the same body. And the subtle body also comes to an end. Like physical body, it also comes to an end in Mahapralayam. And well, again, when the creation takes place, new Brahmaji comes, and I mean, when he rules, I mean, he creates everything. From Narayana Nabi, he comes out. Brahmaji comes out, and then he creates everything. In new Srushti, well, the Karanam is there. Karana Shariram is there. Avidya is there, and therefore Vasanas are there. His karmas are there. Jiva is there. All product of Avidya. And it is in a seed form, it is dissolved. It will again sprout for subtle body. And till then, till the Brahmaji lives, this is his subtle body along with the karma and vasanas and everything. Well, the jiva also reflected, consciousness also, well, as per his karmas, will get physical bodies again and again. So, physical body dies within no time. That's how it is. So, this is how we have to understand. So, what was I before my date of birth? If you ask, well, it is unmanifest. What is the answer? I don't know. Like the arrow which was coming from darkness. Well, I was not knowing it. It was coming from the unknown, from the darkness. It has come. In between, it has manifested for a fraction of a second, and again it has gone back into a darkness. And so, well, this is how it is. What was I before my date of birth? I don't know. And well, I don't know again what is going to happen after the death. Again, your answer will be, I don't know. So, could you follow? It's like darkness. We are like an arrow coming from the darkness. I mean, get some light, comes to manifestation for a fraction of a second and goes back again to the unmanifest. This is the life. For that, Tatra ka paridevana. Well, Arjuna, for that, why are you grieving for? Make use of this life in the fullest form. Well, why are you grieving for? This is how it is told. This is one way of looking at the verse. Now, still we can think of more in this. This avyaktadini bhutani, this avyaktam we can take it as a Brahman, and that is, we can take it as a Brahman because we have already seen avyaktam, avyaktoyam achintyoyam. Bhagavan says this Atma is avyaktaha. Avyaktaha means it is not available for the sense perception. That was the thing. What is not available for the sense perception, you cannot know whether it is there or not. And therefore, generally, this avyaktam is considered as whatever is manifest becomes a object of a perception. So here avyaktam means it is not an object of perception. We have seen that before 2 verses only. Atma is called avyaktam because it is not available for perception. Through the sense organs you cannot tell Atma is there because it is not an object to begin with. But anyway, so here avyaktam word, we can take it as a Brahman itself. And then before this, before this creation, what was there? Avyaktam. Paramatma was there, Brahman was there, Sat was there, and in between now, when it manifested, it appears as though a very contrary. It looks like this is not Brahman, because the nature of Brahman is consciousness, and well, the creation looks inert. Brahman is limitless. The creation looks, definitely limited in terms of time. Limited in terms of place, etc. Limited in terms of objectivity. You have to take every object. When I say creation, take any object. Then you will find it is limited in time limited in space and limited in terms of objectivity. Pen is pen. Pen can, just being a pen, it is not anything else. It is not a mobile. So this is how, object wise also it is limited. Time wise limited, space wise limited, and like that anything you can take in the creation. So how earlier, before the creation, it was Brahman. Now Brahman alone manifested. But Swamiji, where it has been told? That's a very beautiful sentence in Chandogya. Sadeva somme damagra asit ekameva dvitiyam. Before this creation, this creation was just a sat before it came to manifestation. So Brahman alone was there, and therefore as unmanifest, as a Vyaktam, and now it has manifested in the form of world. But when it manifested in the form of a world, definitely we could not know it as a Brahman. Let the Upanishad tells Sarvam Khalidam Brahma. So because before the creation it was Brahman, then right now also it is Brahman alone. Because before the creation of a pot, it was a clay. Then what is right now? After the creation of pot, it is clay. So same way Brahman alone was there before this creation of these names and forms, or creation of the Jagat. Well, definitely, then right now also it is Brahman, and that is what Upanishad also says, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. But it doesn't look like. It looks very contrary from its nature when it has manifested. And again, this creation will go back to the Brahman. That is how the definition of Brahman also has been given. Yatova imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat prayanti abhisambhishanti. From the Brahman, from the one which the whole creation has come about. And right now the creation is sustained by the Brahman. Means creation is sustained by the Brahman, means creation is Brahman right now. And creation will, at the time of Pralaya, will go back to the Brahman. So the whole verse you can look upon like this. Avyaktadini bhutani. This bhutani, all the living beings, or all the names and forms. You can take it little in a larger aspect. All these names and forms, basically, it has come out from Brahman. And right now also it is sustained by Brahman. It is Brahman. And definitely it will resolve. The creation will proceed towards Brahman and ultimately resolves into Brahman. Yat prayanti abhisambhishanti. That is, this as definition of a Brahman has been given in Taittiriya Upanishad, Bhruguvalli. It's a very, very well-known statement. And beautiful thing is, before this creation there was Paramatma, and therefore that we can accept. But right now also this is Paramatma or a Brahman. Well, for that even Chandogya, very beautiful statement is there. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma Tad Jalaniti Shantopasita. This creation right now is Brahman. You meditate like this. You meditate like this. Whatever you come across during your waking state, have that thought in your mind. This is Paramatma. This is Paramatma. This is Paramatma. Don't tell to the person, or don't tell to don't tell your mobile that you are Brahma, etc. But you think that this way. Tad jalan, iti shantopasita. Tad jalan, like you, this is mantra, like that. Tad jalan means tadja, talla, tadan. Tadja means tasmat jayate. Ja means jayate. Tasmat jayate. Tasmat means from Brahmanaha. From Paramatma alone, from Brahman alone, or from Sat alone, the creation has come. Talla, la means layaha. Tasmin liyate, tallam. So in that it is going to resolve. Means from the unmanifest Brahman, Avyaktam, the creation has come. And Bhakta Madhyani, right now also it is, creation right now also is Brahman. And Tadan, Tasmin Aniti iti Tadan. So, it resolves also into Brahman. It will again become unmanifest. It will become Brahman as though. So, this is how beautifully it has been said, and that's for Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. So, Vyakta Madhyani, then Avyakta Nidhanani, when this creation names and forms again is going to resolve in Brahman alone. This is how it has been told. So this Brahman is called Avyaktam. In between the Brahman has manifest. Well, the Brahman which is Avyaktam, in between it has manifest, we call it as a universe. And again, it looks like this universe, instead of Brahman we call universe, looks like it is a Brahman, looks like, but it is not, and again it resolves into Brahman. Well, this is beautifully said even in, I think, Mandukya Karika, Adavante cha yannasti vartamane pi tattatha, etc. Well, anyway, but we'll I think that has a little different meaning. Let's not take that way. We'll take this way, from where the creation comes and resolves into a particular thing. Well, in between also it is the same. Like we you know the example, like a bangle, etc. If it has been born from the gold and it is going to resolve into the gold, well, definitely in between also it is gold alone. And therefore, Avyaktam, Avyaktadini Bhutani, all these Bhutanis, all these names and forms has come from Brahman. Brahman alone has manifested in the form of names and forms. Brahman, without undergoing any change, has manifested in the form of names and forms. Like gold, without undergoing any change, manifest in the name and form called bangle, well, and resolves into bangle, resolves into gold. Well, that is how we have to look upon this creation. So you can take this verse in this way. Now we will have to take further into this. So here this goes back to Brahman, the creation. So that is a pralaya, we can say. Even daily laya also is like this. Let's not even worry about this creation and pralaya, etc. Srushti and pralaya. The daily laya also takes place, daily resolution takes place, that is called deep sleep state. Every day we resolve also into Brahman. So, and we arise also from Brahman in the waking state. But since we don't know when we resolve into Brahman and come out of the Brahman, well, we don't know, being because in the state of deep sleep, basically, well, after waking up, we have come out of the Brahman, we don't know. There is a reason for that. Anyway, so in Upanishad, in Chandogya, they have beautiful example they have given for this while describing this Sushupti, etc. In that there are two main mantras are there, well, which clearly says every day the laya takes place. Right now we are not talking about the pralaya at the samashti level. At an individual level also, daily we gets resolved into Brahman. For that, beautiful things are being told in Chandogya itself while discussing about Sushupti. Tadyathapi hiranyanidim nihitam akshetragnyaha upari sancharantaha na vindeyuhu evameva imaha sarvaha prajaha aharaha gacchantyaha etam brahmalokam na vindanti anutena hi pratyudha. What it says is tadyathapi hiranyanidim nihitam akshetragnyaha. Upanishad gives an example that like a person who is having a big field in which he cultivates a lot of crops, etc. And daily he goes there with his lot of instruments and the tractors and all that, and he does a lot of thing in the field to get some crops, etc. And he moves on that earth, right, on his land. Upari sancharantaha na vindeyuhu. They do not know. What they do not know? Hiranyanidim nihitam. Akshetragnyaha. So kshetragnyaha means they know that kshetra means that particular land. They don't know that. They know that land belongs to us. But under this land, what is there, they do not know. What is there? Hiranyanidhim, nihitam. Hiranyanidhim, there are lots of gold and all this jewels and whatnot. Maybe their forefathers or from the people who have bought this land, those people are in the previous previous generations. somebody has put lot of the wealth and in the baskets, I mean the pots there. Like you can think of like our, the wealth which they have got it from Padmanabha Swami temple, like that. Anyway, Hiranyanidhim Nihitam. Nihitam means which is covered. Akshetrajnyaha. Well, they do not know. Upari upari sancharantaha. Daily they move around. Navindeyuhu. That we are so wealthy. They are trying so much, to earn some money in this pandemic situation. The agriculture also is affected very much. And they think that this year if we won't get a crop because we are not getting any workers, etc., this, that, or the season is not good and we have to live our life in a very frugal way, whatever. They don't know that they are so wealthy down below in the earth, it's in there itself. Well, so much wealth is there. So they are wealthy, but they don't know they are wealthy. That's what I mean. Evameva imaha sarvaha prajaha. Well, it is in the same way. Evameva imaha sarvaha prajaha. All these living beings, all these human beings, all the living beings also you can take. Aharaha, daily, gacchantyaha, goes. Etam brahmalokam. They daily go to brahmaloka. They daily, move. I mean, they go to the brahmaloka. They become one with the Brahman. Where? In Sushupti. Navindanti. But they don't know. So they also have that wealth. All the people, we all are so wealthy. Daily we go to that, the treasure of happiness. And daily we go to the treasure of limitlessness. We daily go to the treasure of the security. I am timeless, and therefore there is no question of insecurity. There is no question of any threat to my survival, because I am timeless. Anything which is time bound has a threat that one day or someday my survival will be in problem. I mean, it will be in danger. But you are timeless. So what you are searching for, like the person, these people are searching for the wealth. They want wealth, and that's how they are cultivating crops. Same way, we are also searching for wealth. I mean, we are searching for security and happiness, and we want to get rid of this discomfort. We want a peace, etc. All these things we also want, and we daily get it also. But like those people, we don't know. Sata somya tada sampanno bhavati swam apito bhavati swapiti iti nama Chandogya. Same thing. When Sata somya, daily he becomes one with the Sat, Brahman. And so, that's how he becomes one with Brahman. And that's what the person who, in our culture, when the person, is having a sleep, etc., well, we say he should not be woken up. That's considered papam, because he has become one with Ishvara. He has become one with Brahman, and therefore, so the person who is, doing lot of sadhanams and lot of practices, religious practices, etc., like doing some meditation, let's say, and trying to become one with, in the state of meditation, he wants to become one with Ishvara, and you disturb him like that, then it is considered papam. Same way, daily, all the living beings, ultimately, automatically become one with Sat or Brahman, but they don't know this. And of course, three, four kinds of people are there. Then, if they are sleeping, you will have to wake them up. It is not considered papam. And the first person, then that is the security man. Suppose you have an apartment and you have kept few people, at the door, at your main gate. Because of pandemic situation, somebody comes inside and he may be infected, then he will infect you, etc. So you are told one security person to be there on the main gate. And that he is on the duty and sleeping, then you have to wake him up. That's not considered papam. Other one is a student. In a student life, he has to study, definitely should take rest. But some students have a habit that even after completing number of hours of sleep, When they start study, they sleep again. Well, then you should not think that, oh, now I should not wake him up. Swami told me that it is papam. You have to wake him up. Then third is, you call some person for a household activity, household chores, etc., cleaning, this, that. And you say, I don't know, here, per hour some dollar, etc. And you have called the person once in a week, 3 hours or something, or 4 hours, cleaning everything, dishing and this and that, whatever. Or washing clothes and whatever, laundry. So you have called for 4 hours. The person has come and you have a big house. And then in one corner of the room, he goes and sleeps. And therefore, then you should not think, no, let him sleep. I should not wake him up. Don't think so. You have to wake him up. So there are some exceptions. Anyway, so basically, but anyway, daily we become one with Brahman. And so not only that, we become one with Brahman. When we are awake, we are in Brahman. Whatever we do, the whole daily activity, going out for walking, in Brahman. And eating, in Brahman. Eating also, what you eat also is Brahman. And what your action of eating also is in Brahman. The eater also is Brahman. Everything Brahman. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnau, Brahmana Hutam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavya. Whatever you do, walking, talking, eating, everything is in Brahman during even waking state. Well, let's say that is the manifest state, and again goes to sleep. Again becomes one with Brahman. So, Abhyaktadini Bhutani, well, you have come out in a even daily laya. At the individual level also, in terms of creation, etc., it is definitely. But even in a daily basis, I come out of the Brahman in the morning, I wake up from Brahman, and during day also, whatever I do in Brahman, because Brahman is all pervasive, limitless, and therefore whatever you do is within the limitless. Well, and therefore, during day also, I am sustained by Brahman. All the things are sustained by Brahman. During day, everything is, whatever you come across has a easiness. And the experiencer also is ease. And the experience also is possible because of ease. And therefore, all that is there is this easiness, or the existence and consciousness. So, whatever you do during even this manifest condition, called Jagrata Avastha, etc., well, in that also, you definitely are non-separate from Brahman. But in deep sleep, as though you become one. Why as though? As it has been told clearly in Chandogya, that you become one with Brahman. Yeah, you become one with Brahman, but still you are not one with Brahman. If you become one with Brahman, then Bhagavan's statement is there, Yad Gatva na nivartante. Then once you become one with Paramatma, Bhagavan says, once any person becomes one with me, well, he has not to go back again. Does not take janma, does not wake up, etc. But daily we wake up, and we wake up as an individual, and not knowing that we were one with Brahman in deep sleep. Anyway, so then Yad Gatva na nivartante does not apply to us. Daily, if we become one with Brahman, that is what we want. That is what Mahavakya teaches, that you and Brahman are one alone. The distance between you and Brahman is just ignorance. And well, so if I become one with Brahman, then it is mukti, it is moksha. But if I get up, then definitely that factor, that distance is still there. What is the distance? Ignorance. Ignorance is there. And therefore, even in deep sleep state, as we become one with Brahman, still we come back. And as an individual, we come back as an individual after becoming one with Brahman, and still when you get up and you are aware as yourself as not as a Brahman, but definitely as an individual, means the cause ignorance is there. And that is also told in Chandogya, Anrutena hi pratyudaha. Etam brahmalokam na vindanti, anrutena hi pratyudaha. Anrutena. Anrutena means this maya, avidya. That's also called anrutam. Rutam means satyam. Anrutam means mithya, maya, etc. Avidya. And well, because of avidya and the product of avidya, vasanas, etc. And karmas also. Definitely when you wake up, definitely karmas only wake up. Karmas give janma, karmas give wake you up. Waking up also is a new janma. Many people go to sleep and they don't wake up. They wake up in some other world. And therefore, here we definitely wake up, but still prarabdha is there. So, all the karmas, vasanas and this avidya, definitely all these things are there, and that's how jiva bhava also is there. So, all this samagri is there, and because of that we wake up. We go to the deep sleep with all the samagri, and we come out with that samagri. So, in between also, in sushupti, this thing is there, and that keeps the distance. That keeps the distance. If avidya is not there, well, that person has really gained liberation. So, sushupti is like a moksha. That's how in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in Chandogya, nice discussion on this sushupti. Sushupti prakranam is there. Anyway, so, and they give a beautiful example for this. This condition of jiva has been explained by example of what is it called? A pot. And a pot that is made up of a copper pot. And in Haridwar and all the places you get that copper pot. And of course, there is a lid and it has been, covered, sealed totally. And they fill up in there this Ganga Jal, etc. The Ganges water is there, and the lid is there, which has been totally sealed so that it won't leak, and that is sold there. Suppose you buy this pot, and it has a cover also, and it is sealed also. Now that pot you put, you are staying in our ashram and where the Ganges are very near. So you go there and put that pot into, dip that pot into water. And morning you feel that suppose some little bit Gangajal has come in or not. Nothing comes because of that lid. So even though it has immersed into the waters of Ganges, it doesn't have even iota of this water, basically. So therefore, same way this jiva goes into the deep sleep state along with this lead of this avidya or maya or vasanas and karmas and everything. And therefore, well, even though he becomes one with Brahman, still he doesn't get up in the morning with the awareness that I am Brahman. Even though he has become one with Brahman, he is not having that idea. Same thing. This is a Sushupti example. People always think that these Vedantis, they always go to Sushupti. It's not like that. It's not like that. We have to account for that experience. That is a different thing. And we are going to talk about in Tattvavada also. Their avasthas only are now coming. We have to account. That is one of the experience. Like this Jagrat Avastha is there of 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours, whatever. But that is also there. For some people it is of 12 hours, and deep sleep also of 12 hours. That's a different thing. But in general, that is also a part of our life, and that's an experience, one kind of an experience called deep sleep experience. And so we have to account for that. So for that we are giving reason. Don't think that we are always, for nature of Brahman, we always go to take you to the Sushupti. In the waking state itself, we have discussed, of course. So I am just reminding you that in a waking state also, whenever you have a joy, like a joy in a deep sleep state, Brahman is Ananda. And therefore, in the moment of joy also, you have the same kind of an experience, but you immersed into Brahman during the moment of joy yourself. The individual is resolved, the knower is resolved, known is resolved, everything resolved into this moment of joy resolves into consciousness, limitless consciousness, self-existent consciousness, resolves, but goes with the ignorance. And therefore, definitely, even though you experience your joy, your happiness, your nature, you are in touch with yourself, still that distance remains. And that distance is not a physical distance, the distance is of ignorance. And that is why people keep searching the happiness outside. Even at the moment when he comes out, he has that clear judgment that this particular object has brought happiness for me, not that I am happiness. Even though he is experiencing his own nature, he won't say that I am happiness, I am Sukha Swarupa, I am Ananda, Satchid Ananda, I am Ananda. He won't say. And therefore, that shows, even though you become one with it, momentarily, experientially, Sushupti also is an experience. That is a little larger experience. This also is an experience. Well, definitely, still person doesn't know. So that is how. So in waking state, I mean in the manifest condition, even though there is Brahman, but it looks ab-Brahman. Could you follow? Even in deep sleep state also looks like an unmanifest condition. But from the creation standpoint, this is all manifest. All the three avasthas basically are because the person is there and he has his in a deep sleep state, etc. Well, but it is since the ignorance is there, this, even though he experiences his own joy either in deep sleep or in a waking state in a certain moments, well, he doesn't know it. That's how it is said, Anrutena hi pratyudaha. Just as those people were so wealthy, billionaires, but such a wealth is there down in the earth itself. But since they were not knowing that it is there, they consider themselves as a poor people. And that is, even though they are billionaire, but still they consider that way. Same way, I am Ananda Sarupaha, Ananda Samudra. I am the happiness, limitless happiness. I am peace. I am secure. I am timeless. Well, whatever I am searching, that I am already. So those people were searching wealth. That's how they were doing agriculture, etc. They wanted wealth. But they were having a wealth, still they do not know. Very beautiful example in Chandogya has been given that way. So that is how he merges into Brahman, either in a moment of joy or in deep sleep state. He merges into Brahman and emerges also from Brahman. Still he doesn't know. Merges unmanifest, emerges well as Vyaktam and manifest, and still he doesn't know. So on a daily basis, Avyaktadini Bhutani, this Bhutani, all the living beings, whenever they sleep, they are one with this Avyaktam, they are one with this Brahman. Well, and when they wake up, well, they are in Brahman. They are in Brahman. All their activities are in Brahman, in limitless Brahman. Very existence of the one who is doing activity is because of Brahman. Therefore, or whatever one experiences is Brahman, experiencer is Brahman, the manovrutti also is Brahman, the experience, the mode of mind, experiencing varieties of names and varieties of the forms and colors and sounds and whatnot. Everything is Brahman, everything is pervaded by the Brahman consciousness. So even in the manifest condition also, due to ignorance, he doesn't know that he is Brahman. And he himself takes himself as a Jagrat Purusha, Swapna Purusha, etc. etc. Basically, all the states are pervaded by Brahman. And well, of course, when Prarabdha is over, he again goes back to Brahman. On a daily basis also, he resolves into Brahman. So, Avyaktadini Bhutani, Vyaktamadhyani, in between also, Vyaktam is nothing but Brahman, but he doesn't know. That's what the thing. And very beautifully, it has been, little further elaborated, and it has been told, like, all the time, in all the states, whether it is a deep sleep state or whether it is a waking state or whether it is a dream state, I am all the time immersed in the Brahman. Still, why I don't know? So that has been explained. Because between me and Brahman, there are three curtains, they call. Of course, we are very fortunate that we will be discussing this thing in Tattva Bodha now, in the avasthas only. So they say in this waking state, also we are in Brahman, but still because of three curtains, we don't know, we could not meet Brahman, as if. Even though we are pervaded by Brahman, but as if we, because of these three curtains, we are not able to meet Brahman. What are these three curtains? They say this gross body, subtle body and causal body. Well, and that is why between me and Brahman, these three things are there, three curtains. And therefore my eyes, whenever I look for Brahman, my eyes first fall only on this curtain. And therefore the first curtain is this gross body. So that is identification with the gross body. You can understand very well. Jagrata Avastha, we are going to define tomorrow itself. Sthula Sharira Abhimani Atma. Well, so basically this the first curtain is this gross body. And that's how, even though I am in Brahman or the Brahman, there is no distance between me and Brahman, still I am not able to see that, because the gross body itself becomes an hindrance or a curtain like thing, and that is how I am not able to see Brahman see myself as a Brahman. And then the second one, and of course here you can take it as even the gross body or the gross world, Sthula Sharira or Sthula Prapancha, both the ways you can take. At an individual level you can take, and that's how Mandukya also has taken. So you can take it as a gross body or a gross Prapancha. Because of this gross Prapancha also works as a curtain, it doesn't allow me, as though, even though it is Brahman right now, because unmanifest is Brahman and it only has manifested, so what is manifest also is Brahman. But as though these names and forms, as though they are curtain, and they don't allow me to have a darshanam of Brahman. That's what they say. And then, so of course the other two curtains are there. We will see that tomorrow. So not only the gross body, the other bodies are also there. The subtle body and causal body, etc. also is there. And so Brahman remains as though covered with these three curtains. And definitely once you see a gross form, then you won't try to see the other curtains. The subtle body, the subtle aspect. They give a beautiful example, like suppose you go to Bombay for the first time, and you have a map of Bombay, and there is a city. Two things are there. Where will you look? You definitely you won't sit in the hotel and just keep on looking the map. You may look for once where to go, but ultimately just looking at the map, you won't say that I have seen Bombay. You really want to see the place. So map is like a subtle aspect, and that city is all the buildings and whatever, they are a gross aspect. All the gross aspects are there in the subtle aspect called map. But you definitely, so when your eye is on the subtle and gross aspect, you don't see the subtle aspect or a causal aspect. And that is why somebody asked me also this question, Swamiji, this Sthula Sharira Abhimani, we are going to see tomorrow, Sthula Sharira Abhimani Jagrata Avastha, this Jagrat Purusha. So he has identified with the gross body. Then he has not identified with the subtle and causal body. Well, you have to consider it has been identified with all the three bodies in a waking state. But we generally take this gross body. Other two are not considered as such in a Jagrata Avastha. Like the map and the particular place, that you definitely like to see the place. You don't like to just be satisfied with seeing the map of the Bombay. So this is how it is. So our journey starts towards the Brahman, and then when we starts towards Brahman, to be one with Brahman, then very first curtain, first obstruction is this gross body. Ahar ahar gacha. And then this person goes to deep sleep state, and he reaches to Brahman, he reaches to a dream state. Then now only subtle aspect is there. And subtle aspect, when you see dream, it looks everything gross. definitely looks gross, but it is, whole dream world is in a particular nadi, etc. Therefore, it is very subtle world. It is only subtle body as manifesting form of a this subtle world, dream world. Subtle body, and that too only not all the parts of subtle body, only basically mind, and mind also not fully awake mind. It is just a aspect of the mind only, especially vasanas, etc. That only manifests as a dream world. So though that also works as an obstacle. So you cannot meet Brahman. Well, and then what happens? And then you still continue your journey towards Brahman, and you even definitely that curtain also you remove. And now you have reached to what? You have reached to the causal body, ignorance, and therefore still it is basically it is a curtain, and therefore definitely this still you should not be able to see Brahman. But somehow this causal body is it allows you, because that curtain is so thin. Sometimes you must have seen is people keep on the especially windows some curtain by which the neighbor can see somebody is there. Who is there cannot be seen. Correct. But somebody is there, you can see. Because it's a thin curtain. So in the light, you can see that somebody is there in the room. So such a thin curtain. And therefore you start experiencing Brahman, the presence of Brahman, very well. Unlike those subtle body, that that kind of a parda and the gross body. Well, compared to those two curtains, this curtain is very thin, and therefore even you have that curtain in a deep sleep state, you are able to experience Brahman. That's what we say. You become one with Brahman, but well, still that ignorance is there. And that is why even though you experience yourself, you experience your joy, that's your nature. You experience your limitlessness, that is your nature, Still, when you wake up, you won't say, I was limitless, or I am happy in happiness, etc., or I am limitless, etc. Well, you won't say that, because it gives you some abhasa of ananda and some abhasa of this your limitlessness, but you would not be able to say that I am like this, I am like that, etc. I am happiness, etc. You are not able to say that. So even though you experience Brahman in either in deep sleep or even in the waking state also, but we are taking now 3 states, and therefore in the deep sleep state also, and therefore they always write. You see that in the Upanishad they never say. They say in a deep sleep state you become one with Brahman. They should say you become one with Brahman along with ignorance, but they never say. Never say. Because you almost reach Brahman. Almost reach Brahman. If just ignorance does not prevent you from your nature. Totally. If notion is created from the ignorance, well, the distance between you and Brahman, distance between you and yourself increases. The notion, the judgments about yourself, well, basically they are notions or confusion regarding the self, well, definitely as though creates a distance. And therefore, once you identify with a gross body or a subtle body in a waking state and dream state, you are not as though able to know that, these 2 curtains do not allow you to know that what you are in nature, in true sense, what you are doesn't allow. Because both the states, you have a confusion regarding yourself. You have a judgment regarding yourself that I am so and so in the waking state. In dream state also you have such a judgment, I am so and so, and therefore it doesn't allow you. But in deep sleep state, all these notions get dropped. The cause ignorance remains. And so you come to very, very near to your nature. Almost one. So even it's a deep sleep state or it is a pralaya. They never say, at the time of pralaya, when the creation happens, that time also they always say, Sadeva Somme Damagra Asit. From the Sat, the creation came. Sat cannot create anything. With the Sat, there is something which is non-separate from the Sat that creates. That's called Shakti or Maya. But they never say Maya. Just like in deep sleep state, Avidya is there, but we never say that along with Avidya. They always say you become one with Brahman. Even though ignorance is there. Because why they don't talk about ignorance even in deep sleep state? Or why they don't talk about Maya in a Pralaya state? Before the creation. Why they don't talk about? They always say from the Brahman the creation has come. You should say from Maya, because Maya is responsible. Ultimately, Maya is going to come into all these forms. Brahman doesn't create anything. Still they say Brahman creates everything, as though they don't consider Maya at all. In deep sleep, they don't consider Vidya at all. Here also they say they become one with Brahman. Because you almost experience yourself. You experience also, but you don't know. Let's say that way. Because that's how avidya is not considered, even though it's a very big problem. But experientially, you are one with yourself. Experientially, in terms of creation also, you can definitely say, you can ignore their Maya. Here you can ignore avidya. And you say, basically Brahman created. Or here I say, well, I became one with Brahman and I came out of the Brahman, etc., etc. This is how the things are. Ultimately, Vyakta Madhyani Bharata, Avyakta Nidhanani. Once again, individual goes back to the deep sleep, merges into Brahman, wakes up in Brahman, goes back to again deep sleep state in Brahman, and therefore Vyakta Madhyani also, in between also it is Brahman alone. But due to ignorance, I don't see myself or the creation as Brahman. In deep sleep state, I almost become one with, almost we have to say because of ignorance, with experientially I become one with Brahman. Same way in creation. Also you can take it at the level of a samashti, cosmic level also. It is like that. From the Brahman, the creation has come. From Avyakta, the creation, the Vyakta has come, manifest has come, and goes back to Avyakta, goes back to Brahman. So it is the same thing. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So, Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. I hope you have followed what I have said. I almost. In case if you have questions, you can keep those questions. We can take up those questions, and of course, very fortunately, we are going to discuss this three avasthas, Jagrata Avastha, etc. from tomorrow. So more clarity will also can come in it. Monday, I'm sorry. Monday. For me, all days are Mondays. So that is why. Anyway. So I enjoy so much. I sharing these things, I enjoy so much. I become one with all of you. So this is how the things are.
Likewise, Swamiji.
Because you people are appreciating. By questions, I can understand that you are able to understand and everything. So that makes me more and more enthusiastic to give sharing.
Yes. This is the people are asking, how are you spending time? Actually, we find no time. We have classes and discuss in between.
Yeah. That's somehow, this is Daivam. This is how Ishvara has, this is how it has been.
Blessing in disguise.
Blessing in disguise. Yeah. Correct. So Monday morning we'll meet. Yeah. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hello, Swamiji.
Hari Om. and I have to go to temple, and already I think it is 5:28 or something. Can you
Okay.
ask me on Monday or something?
Yeah, let me just ask the question. You can give answer later.
Uh-huh.
The question was that Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata
Ah.
Avyaktani Dhananyava, right?
Correct.
So between the two Vyakta states,
Ah.
what is the progression of Jiva? Is
See,
it explained somewhere? And
uh,
you can explain that.
Correct. Between two Vyakta states rather than between two Avyaktas we have to tell. That's how Bhagavan says. Because Avyakta is a very long thing. Vyakta is very short. That's how I gave you example of an arrow. A manifest arrow is for few seconds. Again that arrow becomes unmanifest. It has come from unmanifest and goes back again to the unmanifest. In between it becomes manifest, right? And that manifest is for a very short time. And therefore, compared to zoological time, compared to this unmanifest, which is beginningless, you can understand that. And so the Brahman manifests in the names and forms, or as a jiva, let's say, for a time being, very short time. And so that way we have to see rather than the progress, etc. Of course, it has been talked about in Upanishad that once the jiva leaves this body and then goes to unmanifest, of course. But before taking birth, what happens, before it manifests, what happens, etc., has been told. But generally, the unmanifest is very big. Comes from unmanifest and becomes unmanifest and manifest for a very short time. Could you follow?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but still it is in certain states. So like in
Yeah.
the Puranic thing, they say if you go to Chitragupta decides.
yeah. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that part in. On Monday, or I think we'll